Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're zeroing in on just 6 verses from the Gospel of Matthew. We're talking chapter 26, verses 20 through 25. It might not sound like much, but these lines capture one of the most dramatic and pivotal moments in the entire biblical story. Okay, let's set the scene. We're in a room in Jerusalem, and it's time for the Passover meal. This is a huge deal, a moment packed with religious meaning, a time for fellowship. But as you're about to see, the whole mood is about to take a very, very dark turn. So our story opens up, and on the surface, everything seems calm, traditional. But underneath it all, every single detail is just loaded with significance for what's about to happen. We kick things off with verse 20. Now when the evening was come, he sat down with the 12. It's a simple line, but it tells us so much. It's evening, specifically Thursday the 14th of Nisan on the Jewish calendar. And Jesus is with his inner circle, the 12 apostles. This isn't a public feast. It's a private, intimate gathering. And right in the middle of this quiet, sacred meal, everything just gets completely shattered by a single, shocking prophecy. Can you even imagine the shock? Verse 21 says, "Verily I say unto you that one of you shall betray me." Out of nowhere, Jesus drops this absolute bombshell. He looks at the very men he's chosen, the ones he's lived with and taught, and he tells them there's a traitor in the room. In an instant, that atmosphere of trust just evaporates, replaced by confusion and, you gotta think, a whole lot of dread. Now, here's what's so fascinating about verse 22. Look at the disciples' reaction. There's no finger pointing. No one yells, "It's him." Instead, the text says they were exceeding sorrowful. Every single one of them turns inward and asks, "Lord, is it I?" It's a moment of humility, for sure, but it also just shows you the pure chaos and uncertainty that Jesus' words unleashed. The tension in that room must have been just unbearable. You have every apostle searching their own heart, and then Jesus gives them a clue. He's not trying to publicly shame anyone, but he is going to identify the person, narrowing the focus from the whole group down to one man. So in verse 23, Jesus doesn't point a finger, he doesn't shout a name. He just says, "He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me." Think about that. He uses a quiet, symbolic act that's happening right then and there to identify the betrayer. It's an intimate gesture, which says so much about their relationship and just how deep this betrayal really is. So yeah, dipping in the dish, this is the crucial part. This wasn't just sharing food like we might today. In that culture, sharing a common bowl was a huge sign of friendship, of trust, of deep personal closeness. This confirms the betrayer isn't some enemy from the outside. It's someone from inside the inner circle, someone who shared life and meals with him. That makes it so much more personal and painful. And then, in verse 24, Jesus expresses the absolutely tragic weight of this choice. He says, "Woe unto that man! It had been good for that man if he had not been born." It's a devastating statement, because even though this betrayal is part of a bigger prophesied plan, it doesn't erase the personal responsibility. The consequences for the one making that choice are absolute. You know, this illustrates a really powerful theme that you see again and again. The source material connects this moment straight back to the story of Joseph of Egypt, the guy whose brothers sold him into slavery. Years later, Joseph tells them, "You thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good." It's this incredible idea that a divine plan for good can actually be fulfilled through someone's choice to do something profoundly evil. And now, verse 25. This is the climax. Judas, who the text flat out tells us is the one who betrayed him, he has the nerve to ask the exact same question as the innocent disciples. "Master, is it I?" He's forcing a direct, public showdown. Jesus' reply is, "Thou hast said." Now, this was a common Hebrew way of saying yes. It's basically like saying, "You said it," or "the words came out of your mouth." It's a direct confirmation, but it's delivered with this chilling calm. And just like that, the suspense is over. The betrayer is known, and the path to the cross is now set in motion. So all of this leaves us with a really profound question to think about. One that echoes from this story all the way back to the story of Joseph. It's about that complicated dance between divine will and human choice, and how, sometimes, even the darkest act of betrayal can end up fitting into a much larger, unforeseen story of redemption.